One of the global events that has dominated headlines the world over during the past couple of weeks is the FIFA World Cup. The month-long tournament is held every 4 years, and this year's edition in Brazil finally got underway last Thursday when the hosts beat Croatia 3-1. Well, despite the Chinese national team not having qualified for the final tournament, this hasn't dampened enthusiasm for the World Cup within the country, with Chinese forums and message boards awash with armchair pundits speculating, well-wishing and cheering on their adopted teams. It's also worth noting that actually watching all the games in China is no mean feat, owing to the 11-hour time difference between the country and Brazil. This means that hardcore football fans in China who want to take in all the fixtures have to do so between the hours of midnight and 8 a.m, a situation that may result in a few too many bleary-eyed individuals in Chinese workplaces over the coming month. Well, to find out more about how Chinese people are enjoying the World Cup, let's cross over to our researcher Esther Deng in the newsroom. Hi Esther, so just how popular is the World Cup in China and how has it affected people's lives out here?
Hi Michael. Well, although the Chinese national team didn't manage to qualify, the tournament has nevertheless got many people here very excited. The internet is full of discussion about players, teams, coaches, and predictions about the possible winners of the tournament. And here are just a few examples that I managed to find. This take is from Zhao Daming on Weibo.com, who says, "I just can't contain my excitement. I waited for this moment for 4 years." Well, Lin Liangfeng says, "I've been a football fan for 30 years, and nothing compares to the experience of the World Cup. Even people who aren't that into football can't help but be swept up in the carnival atmosphere." And this poster called 高亚看球笔记 says, "I love everything about the World Cup, the skills, the battle, the handsome players, and the tournament gossip. There's such a sense of enthusiasm surrounding it." However, some posters like 左重年 are a little more cautious, reminding football fans to plan their viewing sensibly. See, the World Cup is good fun, but fans in China should be wary of the time difference. It's not good to stay up all night watching the games. And that last post actually brings me onto another theme of watching the World Cup in China. In order to take in as many games as possible without suffering from tiredness and work, some Chinese people have taken to forging doctors' notes claiming they are sick. In addition to this, China's public security authorities have alerted fans to the risks of drink driving and driving while tired after matches.
Okay, well, despite the World Cup's widespread popularity here, the Chinese national team hasn't actually made it to the tournament proper. And this is, in fact, the third consecutive World Cup that China hasn't qualified for. Now, this does seem rather odd, given the popularity that football enjoys in the country, and the fact that China has recently made such great strides in other sporting events like the Olympics. So how do Chinese net users feel about this? Is there a sense of embarrassment about their footballing shortcomings?
Well, Michael, it does appear that there is a feeling of humiliation among Chinese net users and their country's failure to qualify. Wu Xiuping remarks, "I think China should really be performing better. After all, we do have 1.4 billion people to pick a team from." Another poster thinks the Chinese footballers should focus less of their energy on off-field events. See, as far as I'm concerned, Chinese footballers do nothing but go to nightclubs and expensive bars. And it seems that the consensus is that China's World Cup drought will not end anytime soon. One poster on Sohu.com feels China is being upstaged by its near neighbors, saying, "I don't understand our national team's feelings. Countries like Japan and South Korea always manage to qualify for the World Cup, so why can't we?" And another point that net users are eager to comment on is the dividend of $750,000 that China's Football Association received from Asian football's governing body. And there's lots of opinion on where this money should be spent. Qi Xunweng remarks, "China deserves this money. The country has plenty of football fans and contributes high viewing figures for the World Cup tournament." Though this poster from Anhui isn't so impressed. See, compared to the amount of money in the professional game nowadays, this is just a pittance and won't change anything. Well, 最浪漫的事 feels the money would be better spent elsewhere. It would be much more appropriate to use this money to help improve China's education sector.
Okay, and there have recently been news reports suggesting that even the Brazilian public isn't all that supportive of the World Cup being held in their country, with a recent opinion poll suggesting that actually only 48% of Brazilians are in favour of their country hosting the tournament. Now, this seems somewhat surprising given football's place in Brazilian culture and the considerable success that their national team has enjoyed over the years. Do Chinese net users have any thoughts about this situation?
Yes, some net users have shared their opinions about why some Brazilians might be resistant to the World Cup. Tao Duanfang on Sina.com says, a dramatic economic downturn since 2011 has awakened Brazilians to the fact that the country should divert fewer resources to the World Cup and more to basic social welfare. There is also a general election in Brazil this year, and citizens are blaming politicians for spending too much money chasing votes instead of addressing the real problems in the country. And Ding Yang asks, the corruption and inefficiency of the Brazilian government means progress in the country's public works projects is slow and inefficient. Finally, this poster feels that this is not only a problem that Brazil faces, adding, and nowadays, even powerful and developed countries have to think twice about hosting big sports events. Hosting the Olympic Games is no longer such a sought-after project, as countries are increasingly concerned about the costs involved. You can already see that several countries have dropped out of the bidding for the 2022 Winter Olympics.
Okay, thanks for that, Esther. And that was China Take researcher Esther Deng with Chinese people's perspectives on the FIFA World Cup. Next up on China Take, some of the top trending phrases on China's most popular search engines.